Canadian lawmaker Charlie Angus answered to prosecution of USA President about Volodymyr Zelensky. He delivered a blunt message to Donald Trump. He told, to attack a leader like Zelensky, who has more moral fiber in his little toe than Donald Trump has in his entire body and his entire cabinet, is outrageous. Angus said in an interview with Ben Meiselas of the MeidasTouch Network that Volodymyr Zelensky has shown the world what democracy means. Donald Trump is a convicted felon and a sexual pervert. Those two men shouldn't even be mentioned in the same sentence. Angus, who slammed Trump's love for gangster Russian President Vladimir Putin, later referred to what an unnamed Eastern European colleague told him in response to Trump calling for a regime change in Ukraine. She said to me, "The Ukrainian people survived the Holodomor. The Ukrainian people survived Stalin. The Ukrainian people survived Chernobyl. They've survived Putin. Do you think that Donald Trump is going to break the Ukrainian people?" recalled Angus. "So Donald, just put a sock in it for now." He continued by warning that Trump is going to do enormous damage to democracy, impacting both US allies and the rest of the world as he tries to help his criminal buddy Putin. And the world will be forced, now, to treat America the way we treat Putin, and we are going to all have to pick up our game dramatically to defend democracy, whether it's in Ukraine or whether it's in our own countries, said Angus. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Sunday that he doesn't recognize U.S. aid as Ukraine's debt and is not signing something that will be paid off by 10 generations of Ukrainians. "We must not recognize grants as debts, whether someone likes it or not," said Zelensky. According to Associated Press, his comments come as Zelensky and other officials were participating in a forum in Kiev where discussions on the state of the country are expected, a day before the war with Russia reaches its 3-year mark. The forum comes at a sensitive moment for Kyiv as Trump's administration pushes Ukraine's leaders to agree to a deal that would allow the U.S. to access Ukrainian rare earth minerals, a proposal Zelensky earlier declined to accept because it lacked specific security guarantees. The UK on Sunday said it would announce new sanctions on Russia as it tries to stiffen Western support for Ukraine. The sanctions package coming Monday will be the biggest imposed by Britain since the early days of the war, Foreign Secretary David Lammy said, adding that they would be aimed at eroding Russia's military machine and reducing revenues fueling the fires of destruction in Ukraine. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron will make tag-team visits to Washington this week as Europe attempts to persuade Trump not to abandon Ukraine in pursuit of a peace deal.
Ми отримали першу угоду, в якій не було гарантій безпеки, і тут немає ніякого скандалу, просто вона не відповідає запиту. Тобто питання про те, що давайте 50 на 50 все ділити. Приблизно так перша угода виглядала. Я сказав, що я не піду на це і не дам міністрам підписати це. Елемент. В моєму житті було кілька угод, я вам скажу. І я не збираюсь визнавати 500. Хто б що не говорив, як би ми не спілкувалися, при всій повазі, ще раз, при всій повазі до партнерів, але, я стійко стою, тому що це правдива ситуація, абсолютно ми праві. І друга ситуація, якщо чесно, навіть 100 мільярдів я не готовий фіксувати. Поясню чому. Тому що ми не маємо визнавати гранти як борги. Подобається це чи не подобається? Там є 1 до 2 такий елемент. Я домовлявся з Байденом і домовлявся з Конгресом Сполучених Штатів Америки. Я вдячний Конгресу. Це була присутність 2 партій і підтримка грантів. Грант – то не є борг. І ми не потрібні віддавати борг. Може, це не подобається і це несправедливо? Може, я не знаю. Але це і є угода, яка була раніше. Це грант. Тобто, питання не в цифрі. Питання в тому, що ми не визнаємо, що це борг. У мене питання. Ну, тобто я повертаю 50 і плюс 50, так? Якщо це вимушено, і нам зараз, і ми без цього не можемо, напевно, ми на це повинні йти. Але у мене питання, скажіть логічне, і мені на нього ніхто не може відповісти. Коли Сполучені Штати Америки продають зброю Ізраїлю, Катару, Саудівській Аравії, Об'єднаним Арабським Еміратам, чи вони заробляють 100%? Все нормально. Я просто хочу діалогу з президентом Трампом. Мені здається, я справедлив в тому, що я хочу діалогу. Я не підписую те, що будуть виплачувати 10 поколінь українців. Сваритися нам потрібно бути дружніми, але все одно...
Russians are panicking in the temporarily occupied Crimea. They are afraid that large-scale drone strikes could take place from February the 24th to the 26th. This was reported by the head of security programs at the Center for Global Studies Strategy 21, Pavel Lakichuk, reports 24 Canal. According to him, the invaders understand that this is not just like that, because now a strategic operation of the Ukrainian armed forces is underway to destroy Russia's military economic potential. This means that the corridors are being formed. They are already looking at what will fly to the Black Sea Fleet headquarters, to Belbek, to Saki, maybe to the Feodosia oil depot or to the Crimean Bridge. These are also important objects. There is an oil depot in Sevastopol, he emphasized. The expert also added that such sanctions from the Ukrainian armed forces are very effective. In particular, oil sanctions, which are carried out by Ukrainian defenders by destroying the Russian oil industry complex, are effective. Let us recall that, as reported, Atesh agents stated that the enemy has begun to move fuel and lubricants more actively in Crimea. At the same time, the occupiers are afraid to accumulate large volumes in warehouses due to their vulnerability to Ukrainian UAV strikes. Recall on January the 26th, explosions thundered in the temporarily occupied Crimea. Local publics and propagandists reported an attack by Ukrainian naval drones from the sea, in particular on the city of Sevastopol. In addition, the troops of the aggressor country Russia in the temporarily occupied Crimea are building up air defense systems while weakening other sections of the front. Earlier, Kerch Bridge in Crimea and seemingly the Black Sea shipyard were targeted in a Ukrainian attack, which was foiled by Russia's Black Sea Fleet's naval aviation. Since Moscow launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, Kyiv has consistently zeroed in on Russian assets dotted around Crimea, which the Kremlin has controlled for a decade. Ukraine has vowed to reclaim the peninsula.